When they heard the sudden news that James's father was seriously ill abroad, James and Diep didn't hesitate for a single moment. They quickly boarded a red-eye flight, carrying love and hope, determined to be by their loved one's side during those difficult hours. This story will deeply move your heart. James and Diep are a young married couple living happily together until one day they received distressing news from overseas. James's father was urgently hospitalized due to heart complications. Without hesitation, Diep offers to accompany James to care for and support the family during this challenging time. At the hospital, they face emotional moments seeing their loved one weakened, yet his eyes still hold hope. As days go by caring for him, their love grows not only for James's father but also for each other. Diep gradually adapts to the new life, sharing responsibilities with James and bringing warmth to the small hospital room. One afternoon, Diep sincerely suggests moving closer to stay longer to better care for James's father and maintain family bonds. James is touched and agrees, understanding that being together is what truly makes a home. This story is a reminder of the value of family, sharing, and the power of love in life. If you enjoy touching family stories, don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you won't miss more meaningful content like this. Late afternoon. The last rays of sunlight filtered gently through the window, casting a pale golden hue on the floor. James returned home after a long meeting with the company's board. His suit was rumpled, tie loosened, forehead damp with sweat. He dropped onto the sofa, hoping to rest a little before dinner, when his phone rang. The screen displayed, "Overseas, Uncle Paul," a number he rarely received calls from. A sudden dread tightened in his chest. James quickly picked up. On the other end, his uncle's voice trembled, urgent and distressed. "James, it's Uncle Paul. Your father, he's just been rushed to the hospital. The doctors say it's serious, a heart complication." James froze. The phone nearly slipped from his shaking hand. His heartbeat thundered in his chest as a cold wave washed over him. For a moment, the world blurred around him. All he could hear were those devastating words, "It's serious." From the kitchen, his wife Diep stepped out, noticing the shock in his eyes, the color drained from his face. She rushed over, gently placing a hand on his shoulder. "What's wrong, James?" He looked up, eyes filled with worry, voice hoarse as he forced out the words. "My dad, he's in the hospital. Emergency. It's bad." Diep didn't speak right away. Instead, she squeezed his hand, not with panic, but with calm strength. After a moment, she said firmly, her voice soft yet resolute, "Take me with you. I want to see him. Family is the most precious thing we have. We can't afford to wait." James was stunned. He hadn't expected Diep to decide so quickly. They had only been married for a little over a year, and she had never met his father, only seen a few photos and spoken once or twice over video calls. Yet there was no hesitation in her eyes, only sincerity and care. He held her hand tighter, eyes misty. "Thank you, Diep. I don't want to wait either." That very night, the two began packing their bags. A small suitcase lay open under the warm glow of the bedroom light, quietly filled with clothes, documents, and necessary medication. Diep didn't forget to include some tea and a few homemade pastries. James had once told her his father loved them. She prepared everything with quiet care, her every motion full of tenderness. At the airport, the evening breeze was cool. Golden lights glowed overhead, casting soft halos on the curved ceiling of the terminal. They sat side by side in the waiting lounge, James clutching Diep's hand tightly, as if afraid that if he let go, everything would collapse. His face was tense with worry, but there was also a steadiness now, because beside him was someone willing to face the storm with him. As the plane lifted off, James stared out the window, watching the city disappear beneath the clouds. His mind swirled with questions, fears, and the haunting thought of losing his beloved father. But when he turned to see Diep dozing beside him, her hand still firmly holding his, he knew he wasn't alone. This journey wasn't just one across oceans. It was a journey of love, of family. The kind that begins at the very heart of everything that truly matters. The hospital where James's father was being treated was nestled in a quiet neighborhood, with long, sterile hallways and cold white lights reflecting off the polished floors. James and Diep walked into the emergency area, their hearts heavy, each step feeling heavier than the last on the cold hospital floor. When James saw the elderly man lying silently in the hospital bed, he choked up. His father's face was gaunt, the wrinkles around his eyes etched deeply by time and days of illness. Yet, despite his frailty, his eyes lit up faintly when he saw his son. James stepped closer, trembling hands gently grasping his father's thin hand. He fought back the tears threatening to spill, trying to stay strong so as not to worry him more. His chest tightened as he took in the delicate features of his father's face, feeling more acutely than ever the fragile nature of life. Diep stood quietly by his side, eyes red and heart full of compassion and respect. She bowed her head slightly in greeting, her voice soft and full of reverence. "Hello, sir. I'm Diep, James's wife. We all hope you get well soon so you can come visit us in Vietnam." After speaking, Diep gently took a warm cloth from her bag and softly wiped his father's forehead. The small gesture brought a tender warmth to the cold hospital room. The old man remained silent for a moment, then his weary eyes shone with deep emotion. He slowly nodded, then weakly grasped Diep's hand, a silent thank you, warmer and more meaningful than any words. The atmosphere in the room grew strangely warm, as if the pain and anxiety had momentarily faded away. Both James and Diep felt the strength of family bonds even in the weakest moments. Invisible threads connect people in unbreakable ways. Day by day, James stayed vigil beside his father's bed, caring for and encouraging him bit by bit. He talked, sharing happy stories from work and memories they once shared. Each word was a dose of comfort, helping his father feel less alone and more hopeful in the fight against illness. Diep never stopped trying, either. She learned how to care for patients and helped prepare light, nutritious meals for his father alongside James. The food she made nourished not only his body but also his spirit. One afternoon, as soft golden sunlight filtered through the hospital window, Diep turned to James with gentle eyes full of hope. "I think we should stay here longer. Close to your father so we can take better care of him, and so the family can be together." James looked at her, overwhelmed with a feeling he could barely describe. He saw in Diep not just a wife, but a steadfast partner and companion, always willing to share burdens and love him wholeheartedly. They exchanged a soft smile, a quiet promise to face whatever challenges lay ahead, together, no matter how difficult the road. In the days following their arrival at this unfamiliar place to care for James's father, Diep gradually grew accustomed to her new surroundings. The small hospital room no longer felt cold or lifeless as it once did. Instead, it became warm and welcoming, like a true home, thanks to the presence of Diep and James, and the deep love that filled the space. Diep didn't hesitate to wake up early every morning to cook porridge and prepare light, nutritious meals for him. Her eyes always reflected gentle care. Every time she softly fed him a spoonful, it felt as though the whole world had quieted down, leaving only the love that filled each tiny act. James encouraged her as they took turns staying by his father's bedside, caring for every detail as if he were the most precious person in their lives. Though the room was small, just enough for a bed and a few simple belongings, it was filled with warmth from family love. In moments of exhaustion, seeing Diep's tender gaze beside him gave James a deep sense of peace. He knew that no matter how hard life might be, as long as they were together, they could overcome anything. One gentle afternoon, as the soft golden light of sunset streamed through the small window and illuminated every corner of the room, Diep and James were tidying up together. She looked at him with gentle, sincere eyes full of hope. "Anna," she said softly, "I think we should apply to stay here for a while. I want to be close to your father to care for him, and also to look after your parents. For me, as long as I'm with you, anywhere can be home, a real family." Her words were more than just a suggestion. They were the heartfelt wish of a woman full of responsibility and sincere love. She wanted to build a new life with James, where family was the most important thing, no matter what hardships they faced. James fell silent for a moment, his heart full of emotions he could hardly express. His gaze met Diep's, not just the look of a husband to his wife, but one filled with understanding, respect, and absolute trust in his life partner. To him, Diep was the steady anchor amidst life's storms, a peaceful harbor where he could find safety and comfort. "I think you're right," James replied warmly, with determination in his voice. "Family is what matters most. No matter what life brings, as long as we're together, caring for your father and my parents, everything else feels lighter." From that day on, they decided to request permission from the hospital and James's company to relocate closer to where his father was receiving long-term care. Their new life there, though simple, was filled with love and sharing. Diep and James not only devoted themselves to caring for James's father but also stayed connected with his parents back home, keeping their family bond strong despite the distance. Each morning, waking up in that small room and seeing the gentle smile appear on James's father's lips, Diep felt a profound, simple happiness. She knew she was helping to make their small family more complete and stronger. For James, every day spent with Diep and his father deepened his appreciation for those precious moments, understanding that true happiness wasn't somewhere far away, it was the peace found beside loved ones. As time passed, their bond grew even stronger, not only as husband and wife but also as partners who shared and understood each other deeply. Diep and James faced difficult days together, knowing more challenges lay ahead, but with love and perseverance, they would always be able to confront and overcome them. That small room became not only a place of healing for James's father but also a home, a place where their dreams and the simplest, most sincere happiness could take root and grow. When James and Diep received the sudden news that James's father was seriously ill abroad, they were both stunned. Without hesitation, they quickly packed their bags and boarded a red-eye flight to be by their loved one's side during those critical hours. Their eyes reflected love and worry, carrying the hope that everything would get better. At the unfamiliar hospital, amid the 4 drips and the sounds of breathing machines, James tightly held his father's hand, trying to hold back tears. Diep gently cared for him, sharing the burden with James, bringing warmth to the small room. During those days together, they not only mended their family but also built faith and strength to overcome challenges. One peaceful afternoon, Diep expressed her wish to stay longer, to be closer and take better care of the family. James was moved and agreed, understanding that happiness is not only in peaceful days but also in sharing and walking together through every hardship. Their story is a testament to the power of family love and the perseverance to overcome storms.